Hey guys, it's Lucky, and today I'm going to bring you a video that builds off my how to build a rain stream and draft video. That one was kind of just showing parts that you might take and put together a raid team. This one's going to go a little bit more in depth and give kind of a sample draft on what you might expect. The For this thing, I'm using the tiers for the upcoming WPF season, which is a league I'm in, and that one has its Galar decks, and we are including Megas whose forms are released, and it's going to be the typical 11 mons, 400 free points. Um, Secondly, this is it's a realistic but optimistic draft. Obviously, if you're actually going through this, there might be snipes and whatnot, and I might going through say, hey, this might be available around later than is or not. Every league is different, so keep that in mind when you're going through. Third of all, this is obviously my opinion. Take it for what you want. I've had somewhat success drafting rain teams, so I think I kind of know what I'm doing. So yeah, so let's get into the pick. So no matter where you are, I think if you have a first pick, you want to kind of draft something that can work overall inside of rain, outside of rain. Just build the team together. Um, for that, I'm going to go ahead and say you should pick Tornadus T for this draft. Um, it's a really good mon. Obviously, the Hurricane span is great, but outside of that, it gives you a lot of support for the team with uh, U-turn and defog, and Boots now helps it really nicely. So this is going to be the base for the team. I always like to, when I'm going with range teams, Tornadus T is usually my top choice. Um, just because it's probably one of the best Hurricane spammers, and really the only thing that's bad about it is outside of rain, you have Hurricane's iffy accuracy, but obviously in rain that doesn't really matter, and outside of rain, it's just a great top Pokemon in general. So going into the second round pick, for this I'm going to suggest Volcarona. You may be surprised. Wow, fire type this early in rain draft. Yes, first of all, Volcarona, especially with boots, is a very early pick usually, so you're going to have to grab it early. But the reason I want to prioritize this on a rain team is for a couple reasons, which I'll explain. First off, like I've said in my past rain video and said, um, have said before, that one of the main problems with drafting rain a lot of the times is, and weather in general, is you get way too focused on that one thing. So Volcarona's there to have a second mode of winning outside of rain. It works fine in rain. It's a great fire type both because it gets a secondary stab in its bug move that can hit grass types, which want to come in on a lot of the water types you have on a rain team. And then in addition, it gets Hurricane, which would be accurate in rain and super powerful coverage move. And then obviously it's great when you're not running rain. So yeah, that's what I would suggest going through second round pick. Coming into third, you're not going to get regular or mega scissor unless you take it first round. But I like regular scissor just fine in a rain team. Um, it gets good pivoting, so that's good. Bring your sweepers in potentially, like set up your rain, pivot into scissor or pivot out. And it's only got one weakness, which is the fire, which obviously in rain helps it out a lot, so it's only 2 times a week and can take a lot more hits. Scissor's also great outside of rain. It again, it offers a possible additional win con that you don't necessarily have to just go with your rain sweepers to win the game. You can like throw a band on it or swords dance and it'll do great, but can also function inside of rain. So that's a lot of what I'm doing with this team is things that function and are helped out inside of rain, and really some things that aren't really helped out by rain, but making sure they aren't hindered by rain, but also that have a decent amount of the team that, hey, if rain's not a good matchup, you can not bring it. And if your opponent overly preps for rain, then hey, you've got this other option. They're like, whoa, I don't know what to do with this. Um, so going into round four, this is when I think usually you're gonna want to maybe pick up your rain team pretty early, decently early to show that, hey, I'm going for this. Now with two weather setters, you can, or rain setters, there can be multiple rain teams. But also for the purpose of this draft, I'm an example. I'm going to assume that we're the only one going for a rain team. But still, the first one I would pick, and I actually learned this because I got sniped once of a sweeper. I wanted go for your sweeper first. So Kingdra, I think, is still the best special rain sweeper in the game. And it can even go physical. I mean, it's got a set outside of rain, but mostly this is your in rain. I'm gonna clean up and do things. Um, Next, going into round five. This is when you pick up the setter. I personally like Polytoad. It's less points, so you can develop make your draft as a whole a little bit more full. It's doesn't get any recovery, but it is a little bit bulkier than Pelipper. Um, and it's got some cool tech options. I just really like it. Plus, it doesn't add an additional flying type with Tornadus, so you're already going to double up on water type. So, and doubling up on typing's not the worst thing, but I just like Polytoad better. Also, it fits the team well. Yeah, I mean its main goal is just to get right up and take a few hits. Also, outside of rain, if you're facing, let's say you're facing a team with a Dracovish, and you're like, well, I don't want to bring rain against that. I don't want to give them their Fish's Wren's extra power. Then you can run Water Absorb Polytoad, or in general, if rain's not a great matchup, Polytoad acts as a better bulky water, just in general, than Pelipper does. So that's why I like it. I think the biggest thing though is that it's 20 points cheaper. It's a tier 3 versus tier 4. Next pick I would go with is one of the other, either Uxie or Mesprit. In this league, they're both tier 3s. They're very similar. Uxie is the more defensive one. Mesprit is more well-rounded. Um, Basically, they're just good mons that have their bulky psychics. They don't really care one way or the other about rain. They get stealth rocks, which is a big thing with this team. Is when I was kind of putting together the example, it's like, oh, I'm somewhat low in stealth rock setter, so get one of these. It's your preference of these pixies. They're somewhat similar. It's really just personal preference for that. Um, Next pick is Heliolisk. Heliolisk is, if you can't get something like, I don't know, if you're not getting like really top tier electric type like Thundurus or um, Tapu Koko or something like that, Heliolisk is probably the best one at tier 4 to get because it functions well in weather with its dry skin ability to heal health in the rain. It also gets access to Surf, so that's in rain. That's like pseudo stab, and that's really good, especially with no hidden powers now. That you can hit ground types that would possibly switch in on your electric moves, and obviously it's raining. You can hit Thunder instead of Thunderbolt, and then outside of rain, fast electrics are just good to have. So that's that pick. Next round, I would say Dredagon would be a good pick. Um, the reason is that Kingdra is an okay dragon type outside of rain. It's not great, but I'm fine with doubling up with this. It helps with because you're having Tornadus and so far two um, water types, and although Kingdra is only neutral to electric, you could have a bit of an electric weakness. It also resists grass, so it's just an overall a good resist fit team. And in addition, it gets Stealth Rocks, which, like I said, could be running somewhat low on. Um, so yeah, that's the secondary dragon type. You're probably going to bring this more outside of rain than in rain, but it can work both ways. Next pick is Miltank. The main reason for Miltank is, again, another Stealth Rock setter. It's a wall, gets recovery, but the cool thing about Miltank and why it's a good pick for this team is that it gets Sap Sipper, which um, gives you grass immunity, which is really nice when you have like your Politoed and potentially another water later along the way, and you can just switch it in if a grass type attack is incoming. That really helps out the rain team, and again, doesn't care at all about rain one way or the other for it. Second to last pick, I would go with Shiinotic. It's okay. I mean, it's a grass type. It's fairy. It does get rain dish, so that's good. Um, and it's a grass type. It gets strength sap, so it's a grass type that doesn't care about rain for its recovery. It's going to get the same amount of recovery no matter what. Not the best fairy, not the best grass, but it's there. It fills a role, and it works even better in rain than outside of rain because of that rain dish ability. And finally, for the Mega Swampert, and this is what I said earlier, this was assuming you're the only rain team going for it. If no one else is going for rain, then you can leave your Mega to the last pick, because most of the time no one's going to pick Mega Swampert outside of rain, and it's probably the best physical rain sweeper out there. So as you can see, this is kind of a well-rounded team. Like if you really want so, and you can go a couple different modes. Like, okay, you want to go heavy rain this week, you can go like Torntree, Politoed, Kingdra, Mega Swampert, Shiinotic, and Scizor, or something like that for say. And then if rain wasn't a great matchup, you could still go like Torntea, Scizor, Heliolisk, Volcarona, and Druddigon, or something like that. And you have so many modes with this team that you can go and build from week to week to whatever you need. And that's the main thing when building a rain team you want to make sure to do is you want to make sure that you can have different modes outside of your rain, and your rain itself just adds another possible win condition and adds something else for your opponents to think about, and not that it's the only thing. You don't want it to be, oh, if I prep for rain and I stop the rain, then they can't win. If you prep everything for rain, like throw in a couple grass types and a couple steel types and stuff like that, then Volcarona is going to come in and bust you up. So that's an example team. Um, yeah, let me know what you guys think, and I will talk to you guys later.